Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is, of course, Qbert's Cubes. Now, if you remember the original Qbert, it was basically impossible. Oh, hey, this game lets you stupidly choose your own level. Why would you choose any level other than one? I mean, it's not like you're going to be able to complete level 1. You need any tic-tac-toe to win. So if you're joining me right now, the game looks just as incomprehensible as regular Qbert. Except now your goal is even less clear. Oh, okay, I see. So you jump on the cube, and depending on how you jump, you get to rotate it. That's hilariously intuitive. I don't know why. Okay, and then now we need to make a tic-tac-toe. So, again, like I may have mentioned, Qbert is widely noted for being impossible. And, I mean, one, the puzzle itself is a little incomprehensible. Like, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do in this. Oh, okay. So evidently I was able to clear away the block. So, I mean, Qbert, first of all, the basic mechanics are essentially impossible. But sure, I'll take it. Level 2. The basic mechanics are essentially impossible to figure out, and if you do manage to figure it out, you've got a bunch of enemies coming at you. And, well, I guess the control scheme isn't so bad. I've always kind of wondered about how Qbert works, just because it's very isometric, but, up, down, left, right on the D-pad do everything, not like up, right, up, left. Yeesh. And, I mean, you think the enemies are bad. Like, in the beginning, first thing I do, jump off the structure. You can do that. What kind of game lets you do that? It's kind of like cliffs in video games. It's like every time your character just like walks up to the cliff, kind of looks down and kind of wiggles off. But it's like, why? What? Oh. Welcome to the Noser Elite. Oh, you have to press start to enter your name? I mean, this is a very responsive name entry screen, so I'm willing to put up with that, but that's just kind of weird. I mean, what kind of game does that? It's like I was saying, yeah, cliffs in video games, so I mean, well, we've earned level 2 now, but I mean, cliffs in video games, like your character just looks down, and like if you walk off it, your character is just gonna dumbly walk off a cliff. That doesn't happen in real life. Something in your mind just tells you, hey buddy, don't walk off this cliff. So I don't know why video game characters can't just not walk off cliffs. I don't know. They've handled walls where it's like you walk into a wall. It's like no video game character tries to walk through the wall. Actually, that's not even true. Video game characters try to walk through walls all the time. Not entirely. Well, I'll take it. Huh. This game seems a lot easier to BS than. Oh, there's a little thing in the upper left, and it's telling you how to orient the block. Unfortunately, well, there we go. So we just need to orient. Yeah, need to orient the blocks in the given way to eliminate them, so we can get bingos, and then I don't know, cure our terrible bingo addiction. I'm actually kind of impressed. I guess Qbert isn't, like, so hard. It's one of those games where it's, like, the first time you see it, it's just so remarkably thing. I mean, you just look at Qbert and you're like, what is happening? And then you, like, accidentally jump off a cliff a couple times, and you're like, I'm ruined forever. I hate Qbert. But then you actually kind of play it, and you, like, kind of think about it, and you're like, okay, at least I can say this makes sense. Oh my gosh, oh wow. Well, on one hand, if you think about it, the colors actually kind of make it easier, because then you can more easily tell, like, how your cube is oriented. But at the same time, I mean, you don't get the random BS, where it's like, if you only have the 2 colors, then it's a lot easier to luck your way into combinations. And you'd have to know what orientation all the colors are in. And you can't just jump back and forth, because then you'll just ruin your block thing. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird how, like, sometimes, like, what are supposedly supposed to be harder difficulties are actually kind of easier. Because, I mean, if you ever played Puyo Puyo, and there's an easy mode where you only have, like, 3 colors, and the regular mode you have 4 colors. But the thing about Puyo Puyo is you want to make as big a chain as you can as fast as possible. And while having 3 colors lets you break things more easily, you want your chain to go for quality, not quantity. So eventually it gets to a point where it's like, you can't make a chain bigger than like 4 or 5, because it's like, it's just going to activate on its own. Same thing with like 3 Puyo mode, or 2 Puyo mode, which is supposedly easier. Although 2 Puyo mode's a bit easier to game, just because there are certain patterns that you can now do, and because you only require 2 Puyo per break, then you can make like 20 chains and stuff. 20 chains will wreck somebody. Ooh, we've done somewhat miserably. Well, let's turn the Qbert up all the way. Oh, 200,000. You need 3 tic-tac-toes to win. Well, I guess Qbert just was not as intimidating as I thought it was back in the day. All that being said, I mean, what I mean by that is, like, it's actually possible to beat the game. Like, it's possible to comprehend what's going on in the game. I'm not saying it's an easy game to actually play, just because, like, you have enemies the enemies keep piling on, and then you've still got to keep doing your crazy Qbert mechanic, whatever that is. And I mean, this isn't the kind of game where it's like you can stop and think about which way you want to orient the cubes. You just kind of go in a pattern that lets you switch through all of the algorithms, or you want to go through a pattern that lets you switch through all of the possible shapes, changing it up every now and then so that the orientations don't just repeat over and over. But yeah, and then you just have to avoid all of... Did I just run into a frog and eat him? That Qbert looks like an anteater. I bet he could eat some frogs. I mean ants. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think that's about all I can say. I will say that, I mean, the Qbert is... I'm clicking it, and he's jumping pretty nicely. It's a very responsive game, and I mean, you can kind of queue up your actions a little. Well, I guess not quite, but... As soon as you press that D-pad, Qbert starts jumping. He's not going to jump there immediately, but it's very nice. And I mean, even though you're asked to do the impossible in this game, you're at least given the base set of tools that you'd be expected to work with. Yeah. I mean, this game, if you really put some time into it and, like, sort of get an intuitive feel for, like, which way the cubes should be oriented and, like, what kind of patterns of movement really help, then it probably wouldn't be so hard, and it'd be, like, kind of a nice little zen thing where you just kind of, like, get in the zone and move the cubes around. But, if you're just kind of like a casual arcade goer and you just kind of see this game and you start playing, well, first life, you're gonna jump off the danger machine. You're gonna jump off the playing field. And then your next life, you're going to probably run into an enemy. In the third life, you'll figure out what you're going to do, but you're going to die anyway. So it gets a little frustrating if you're not willing to put in the time. But that was Qbert's Cubes. Surprisingly, not as frightening as I thought it would be. Not easy, of course, but pretty cool. And on that note, this cat's got a scat.